Now, the South African government and indeed many leaders across Africa have identified small and medium enterprises as the engines for job creation and growth, and within these are incubators of entrepreneurship. Question is, do we have dynamic entrepreneurs? Before the break, we heard that yes, we do in South Africa. There is a wealth of talent. The challenge is not enough are coming through. The Gordon Institute of Business Science is trying to rectify that. Howard Fox is the marketing director at GIBS, and he's going to talk to us about entrepreneurship in general as part of the solution to South Africa's problems. Thank you so much for coming through. It's been found that post-credit crisis, about 5% of entrepreneurial activities in this country have dropped. Now, what's disconcerting about this figure is that it's less than half of the kinds of figures we're seeing in countries like India and Mexico and Brazil. We're just not honing in on the talent that exists in the country. Why is that?
Sure, I think everyone recognizes that in South Africa we have a very high unemployment rate, well over 25%, depending on which numbers that you see. And I think government and business and society in general recognizes that one of the solutions to that is creating a significantly greater number of entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are inclined to create jobs. I think we're hearing a lot of talk at the moment about jobless growth, with the economy growing from a financial point of view, but the number of jobs actually not increasing, whereas entrepreneurs are inclined to increase the job pool as such. So hence it's critical to try and build that group of entrepreneurs.
One of the challenges is survival. Many businesses start up,
yes,
but the longevity is a problem.
Yes.
In the post-recession situation, we've seen 40% of businesses developed cashing or crashing in, and that's generally because of a lack of skill and a lack of financing.
Certainly. So just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you're not exposed to the will of the markets. As the pressure increases, it increases on entrepreneurs in the same way as it does a large corporate. But often as an entrepreneur in a startup, you don't have the financial reserves perhaps, and you may not have the business acumen and the knowledge. I think that's very much where the Gordon Institute of Business Science comes in, trying to build business knowledge and acumen in entrepreneurs so that they are better able to mitigate the issues around a difficult market. If they can understand business process better and they're better educated in the niceties, they may well be able to face these issues to a greater extent.
To what extent do you engage financial institutions? And I'm talking about the high cost of security for businesses set up by entrepreneurs. Banks don't really want to incur the risk, and so they make it expensive to get credit to start a business.
Sure, I think access to finance, if we look at research done by our director of academic programs, she's done a study on female entrepreneurs specifically, and the first issue that they have is access to capital. That is the first hurdle, followed by access to information. Access to capital is not an area where GIBS can actively drive the issues. We're more in the case of saying, let's give information as to how they get access to capital, how they should be expressing the business, how they should be managing the business so that they have access to that capital.
Experts often lament the fact that there are few entrepreneurial skills, and I'm baffled by that, because I would have thought that you're either born an entrepreneur, you can't make an entrepreneur.
Sure.
Is that a wrong assessment?
Sure, I think it's the old nature or nurture question, and I think at GIBS we think it's a combination of both. So if you look, for instance, at when we recruit entrepreneurs for our entrepreneurship MBA, for instance, we're looking for a very specific person. They must not only cross the hurdles that you normally get into to get into an MBA, but you have to be entrepreneurial. You have to give up your full-time job. You have to have a business plan. You have to have a vision for where you want to go. So I think it's a combination of both that will and that desire, and a lot of that comes from the role models that you've seen. The reason that we're so involved in publishing SA's Greatest Entrepreneurs is because we want to show and document role models for the future entrepreneurs to be able to learn from.
What about the exogenous factors that are beyond circumstance? Many people have seen black economic empowerment as an avenue to developing entrepreneurs in South Africa, but with credit lines drying up and deals not flowing, many potential entrepreneurs have now either gone back to the drawing board and gone back to their corporate careers. Is that something that you're concerned about?
Look, I think entrepreneurs need to be resilient. It's not easy starting a business. South Africa has a very complex economic environment, and a successful entrepreneur would also probably be successful in bigger business as well. So if they have the skills and they have the aptitude, they're going to be attractive back there. But often they come back, I think, and we heard Moki discuss the fact that often entrepreneurs have more than one go before they become the sort of people that are in the book. But they have to be resilient through that.
Okay, we have to leave it there. Andrew, in 30 seconds, what could be done to improve the situation, especially longevity? We know the JSE has Altex, for instance, for capital raising of SMEs or smaller companies and medium cap companies. What other opportunities are there for non-bank financing?
Well, I suppose the mechanism of Altex has been a step in the right direction. If you look in the private equity space, it's still a market that's developing in South Africa, and venture capital, which you see in the US context, is not massive here yet, and that will ultimately be a source of finance for entrepreneurs.
All right, thank you so much for coming through. Howard Fox, Marketing Director at GIBS, for talking to us about entrepreneurial skills in South Africa.